Good morning. Welcome to day 10. Almost 2 weeks. How are you guys doing? Hanging in there? This yoga has been helping me a lot, so hopefully it's been helping you as well. Today we are going to be focusing on yoga for athletic recovery. Probably one of my most popular classes. I primarily work with athletes throughout my normal day-to-day routine, and even though they can oftentimes be in the best physical shape, they're usually the least flexible, because when you work out in the gym, most people are focused on the large muscles, whether it's for performance or overall aesthetics. But then that leads way for all the small muscles, the intricate ones, to become missed, get weak, and that's what makes it prone to injury. So if you're an athlete that's ever hurt yourself after putting in copious hours of work, you know how detrimental that can be. So that's why yoga can become so impactful. If you're not an athlete, that's okay. You can still benefit from this class because we're still going to be working on all those small dormant muscles that are normally missed, even if you are seated at a desk throughout most of your day. So if you're with me, let's start in a comfortable seated position, any way that's comfortable for you. The main thing I want you to remember is inhale the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, roll your shoulder blades back and down the spine. So we're starting with this nice straight spine, straight back, working on correcting our posture, promoting back strength. And then we're going to connect to our breath, something also super imperative for athletes. I like to close my eyes so it just helps shift this awareness internally. On an inhale, take a deep breath through your nose. First feel the lungs rise and expand, and then the belly. So we're breathing all the way into our diaphragm. On an exhale, engage the core as you press the navel back towards the spine, feeling the stomach compress, the diaphragm compress, and the breath come back out through the nose. So that 2 more times. Deep inhale. Fill the lungs to maximum capacity. Exhaling, making it slightly longer than the inhale. Out of your nose. One more inhale here. On an exhale, we're going to move right away into a butterfly position, getting into those hips. You guys have all probably done this countless times. To make it a little bit different, instead of really reaching those knees down towards the mat, we're going to inhale, reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling as well. Exhale as you press those shoulders back and down away from the ears so you feel the stretch in the tops of the shoulders and the hips. Deep inhale here. On an exhale, drop your left ear over to the left shoulder. Only thing moving is our neck, not letting our upper body contract at all, so still remaining with that super straight spine. Exhale, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhaling that right ear over to the right shoulder. Exhaling the chin to the chest. Inhaling left ear over to the left shoulder. On your next exhale, we're just going to move into some half neck rolls. Inhaling to one side, exhaling to the other. Keeping your breath synchronized to your movement. On your next exhale, if it's comfortable for you and you don't have any neck pain, crunching, pinching in the back of the neck, you can let the head drop all the way back, coming into these full neck rolls. Still remaining with that nice straight spine, isolating the neck. Only thing moving is our neck. This is where most of us carry a tremendous amount of tension, but especially athletes. From lifting weights, they're already rigorous training. On an exhale, let's go the opposite direction. And now that we have this wider range of motion, if you feel any areas that are holding extra tension, you're just going to stop, pause, breathe into that space. Allow the breath to reoxygenate anything you may be feeling. A good chance to give us a scan of the body, maybe notice areas we were holding tension that we weren't even aware of. One more time. Still keeping that breath synchronized to the movement, inhaling the head forward, exhaling back. back into a straight seated position. Deep inhale here. On an exhale, we're just gonna let the chest sink down towards the toes. Seeing where our starting point is, not forcing anything just yet, just letting gravity do its thing. Inhale, slowly rolling up. One little vertebrae of spine at a time. So your shoulders and your head are the last thing to come up, sitting up tall, feeling the stretch in the hips, shoulders, working on spinal flexibility and fluidity. On an exhale, folding one more time. This time we are going to pull in with the hands. Try to get that chest a little bit closer towards our toes. Inhaling up. Stacking one little segment of that spinal column at a time. So the shoulders and the head, last thing to come up. Exhale, folding. This time we're pulling in with the hands on the feet, getting the chest a little bit closer towards the ground. Optional to also press down on your shins with your elbows. Inhaling it up. Shoulders and head up last. From here, let's come back into a comfortable cross-leg position. We're going to inhale, hands all the way up overhead. On an exhale, bend your left elbow so you're patting yourself on the back. Bring the right hand to the left elbow. Pull your arm back as far as you can. This is our starting point here. Deep inhale. On an exhale, look up towards the ceiling. Your head's going to press your arm back just a little more. Deep inhale. Exhaling, encouraging a deeper stretch. Staying here, or if you want to go further, we can release this right hand from the left elbow. Drop it all the way behind our back. Let's see if we can reach around and interlace fingers behind our back. If you can't quite do that yet, you can always hold on to a belt or a rope or a strap if you have it. So you can finally get those fingers to touch. Slowly releasing the bind if you took that. Let's all inhale, hands all the way up overhead. On an exhale, bending that right elbow. Patting yourself on the back with the right hand. Bring your left hand to your right elbow. Pull it all the way back to your edge. That's our starting point. From here, inhale, looking up towards the ceiling. Exhale, just releasing. One more time. Slowly releasing both hands out to a T this time. On an exhale, you're going to cross your right arm underneath your left, coming into eagle arm. So you want your elbows to interlace at the center. Let's see if we can wrap our forearms around. Maybe we can get our palms to touch. If you can't quite get there and you just have your forearms crossed like that, that's perfectly fine. The main thing I want you to remember, still sitting up tall. On an inhale, reach those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, press your forearms away from your body. Staying here at your maximum range of motion, not collapsing down at all. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling. Fingers up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, forearms away. One more deep inhale. On an exhale, let's slowly unwind, bringing those arms out to a T. And then we're going to interlace fingers all the way back behind us. First, start by rolling your shoulder blades back and down. Sitting up tall, reach those fists as far away as you can from your body. To go even further, drop your fist down to the mat. Roll the shoulders back and down a little bit further, maybe even letting the head fall back. Feeling the stretch in the front of the chest, throat. Slowly inhaling back up to a straight neutral position, extending those arms out to a T. On an exhale, you're going to cross your left arm underneath this time, or the opposite of whatever you just did. See if we can wrap those forearms around, maybe getting palms to touch. Wherever you're at, inhaling fingertips up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, forearms away. 2 more times, just like that. Inhaling up. Exhaling away. Last time. Then on an exhale, let's just bring the hands to the knees. Moving a little bit lower into the back. We're going to inhale, pulling that chest forward. So you feel the stretch in the mid-back, a tight area for most people. Exhale, rounding, lifting back out of the shoulder blades so you feel it all across the back of the shoulders. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, rounding. Moving into a seated cat-cow pose. This is one of my favorites. Still working on that spinal flexibility, mobility. Try to go a little further with that range of motion each time. Do that 2 more breath cycles. Inhaling forward. Exhaling back. Last time. Exhaling back. This time we're going to make some small circles with the upper torso. So inhaling, bringing that chest over the right thigh. Still rolling the shoulder blades back and down the spine. Rounding over to the left. Exhale, pull back and out of those shoulders. Now getting into the low back and sides of the low back, as well as the mid back and shoulders. Another personal fave. And then exhale, let's go the opposite direction. Noticing what side's holding more tension. That will give you a good indication of what side you're probably more predominant in your training, but also your day-to-day life. And like all things in life, awareness is the first step to creating change. One more final breath cycle here. And then on our next inhale, as you come over your crossed legs, we're just going to walk the hands away from the body. Exhale, let the chest sink down towards the mat. Again, this is our starting point, so not forcing anything here. We're just letting gravity do its thing. You want to go a little further? Let's start to let the upper torso rock side to side. And our next inhale, let's come back to center. Crawl those fingertips away from your body. So this time we do want a little bit more of a stretch. As you exhale, let your chest sink a little bit closer towards the mat. Inhale, slowly rolling up. Stacking one little vertebrae spine at a time. Shoulders and head come up last. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Interlacing fingers so your palms are facing up towards the ceiling. Then on an exhale, we're going to shoot both of our legs straight out in front of us. Flex your toes back towards your body a lot. On an inhale, we're going to try to straighten the arms a bit more, reaching them up towards the ceiling. Exhale, biceps back by the ears a little further. One more time, just like that. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhaling back. Release the hands. Have the palms facing the ground. We're going to exhale, slowly folding over both of our straight legs. Allow your hands to land wherever they may, even if you can't quite touch your toes. We're going to walk out our forward fold here. So on an inhale, slightly bend both knees. Exhale, straightening the knees as much as you can by pressing the back of the knees into the mat. Inhaling. Exhaling, straightening. Maybe you want to start to alternate sides. Just as we would walk out a downward dog or a standing forward fold. Warming up our bodies. I'm sure this is the first time a lot of us have even moved today. Alright, on an inhale, bend both those knees. Let's see if we could pull the chest a little closer to the thighs. If you can't grab to your toes, grab onto your shins or your ankles, wherever is available to you. On an exhale, straightening both those legs as much as we can. Inhale as you pull the crown of the head closer to the toes, so you're lengthening the spine a bit more. Exhaling, press your chest into the thighs. Inhale, halfway up. Bring the toes close together so they're touching. You're going to take your right hand to the outside of your left foot. If you can't touch your foot, grab onto your ankles or your shins, wherever you can reach. Deep inhale here. Exhale, twisting, rotating all the way out towards the left, looking out over the left arm. Couple options. If you want to go further, bring your leg about shoulder height. Maybe you want to drop your left hand down towards the mat. Maybe you want to come onto your left forearm. The main thing you want to remember is press your right hand into your left foot a lot. The more you press the foot into the hand, the more of a stretch you're going to feel all along that IT band. Deep inhale here. Exhale, slowly releasing the foot back down to the mat, folding over our crossed legs. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale as you bring that left hand to the outside of the right foot. Deep inhale as you extend that right hand in front of you. Exhale, twisting, looking back over that right shoulder. Then from here, taking whatever variation you did on the other side, whether you want to stay just like this, bring that left foot halfway up, maybe drop that right hand down towards the mat. Maybe coming onto our right forearm, pressing the left hand into the right foot a lot. One more deep inhale. Exhale, folding over both of our crossed legs. And slowly inhaling up one little vertebrae of spine at a time. Shoulders and head come up last. From here, we're going to cross our legs, moving into a tabletop position on our hands and knees. So from a tabletop position, now we're going to warm up the body even further. Moving into some cat-cow pose. I can't stress how beneficial this is for pretty much everyone. I feel like everyone can benefit from incorporating this into your day-to-day routine, especially if you already have back problems. This is a great way to prevent it from flaring up or to alleviate the issue, whether you want to do it first thing in the morning or right before you go to bed at night. So make sure shoulders, elbows, wrists all on one straight line. Keep your knees about hip distance apart. From here, on an inhale, drop that belly, letting it sag. Flex your hips and your shoulders up towards the ceiling, maybe even looking up slightly if you want to feel it more in your core and your throat. Exhale, press into the mat, lift up and out of the shoulder blades, rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone. Inhale, releasing. Exhale, rounding. Now, taking some free movement for the next 10 breaths or so. I always like to let my students do this on their own. So still keep your breath synchronized to your movement, but maybe now you want to start taking some small circles with the hips. Maybe some figure eights. Maybe you want to shift the hips side to side so you can really feel it on the sides of the low back. I think it's important for you guys to do this on your own, not only to help you connect with a deeper sense of body awareness, but also maybe noticing areas of tension you weren't even aware of that you're holding in your body. Listening to what your body's trying to tell you. I always like to say, your body is your greatest teacher. We can oftentimes be so distracted that we don't even listen to it, or maybe have learned not to listen to it. Maybe we've learned to ignore those aches and pains. And after all, who knows what's best for you right now in this moment than you? We've all had different days, different weeks, different bodies. We have different needs. So giving ourselves a little TLC and self-love today. On your next inhale, let's come back to a neutral tabletop position. Keeping those knees directly underneath your hips. On an exhale, we're going to start to slide those hands away from the body, lowering the chest as low as you can get it to the mat. One of my favorites for mid-back and a shoulder stretch. If you're having trouble getting all the way down to the mat and it's feeling like too much pressure for the mid-back and shoulders, you can always put a couple pillows underneath your chest until you're able to get that full range of flexibility. Inhale, back into a neutral tabletop position. Bringing the toes together, knees wide. Exhale, let's sit back for a little child's pose. I like to make that a bit more active by lifting my elbows off the mat and press into the mat like you're trying to press your hips all the way back to touch your heels, even if they don't quite make it. Deep inhale here. On an exhale, staying low to the ground, we're going to walk the hands all the way over to the left. Getting a deep stretch on the right side of the body, the right side of the hip. It's important to crawl your fingertips on the right side so they're parallel to your left fingertips, right next to each other. Or you can pick up your right hand, place it on top of your left hand. Not only will that help you get more of a stretch on the right side, but we're also going to press into the mat, press your hips over to the right. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling over to the left side. Again, crawling that left hand parallel to the right. Maybe picking up that left hand, placing it on top of the right hand, pressing into the mat, pressing that hip over to the left. Inhaling back to center. Shifting back into a neutral tabletop position. Getting into a little bit more mobility and movement. Let's inhale, shifting forward, bringing the weight all the way into the hands, dropping the hips. We're gonna lower almost all the way down to the mat until our shoulders almost touch. And we're leaving our shoulders lifted. Low cobra. Maybe even picking up these hands, making sure we're not using our arms for any balance here. You want to feel this in the back muscles. Planting the hands. Inhaling back into a tabletop. Exhaling, child's pose. Inhaling, tabletop. Exhaling, shifting the weight into the hands, dropping the hips, lowering halfway down. So this time you want to feel it in those triceps. Deep inhale here. Exhale, pressing back up into that tabletop position. Shifting into a child's pose. Last time, inhaling up. Exhaling, shifting forward, dropping the hips, maybe keeping the arms straight this time. If you do that, make sure we're lifting up and out of the shoulder blades so you don't have them crunched up like this by your ears. Shift back into a tabletop position. From here, we're going to bring the knees about as wide as the mat. Keep your right hand planted. Inhale this left hand high. And you really want to twist so you're already feeling it in the front of that left shoulder. Exhale as you thread this left hand through the right armpit, bringing the left shoulder all the way down to the mat. We're going to do that 2 more times. Inhaling left hand high, warming up the shoulder. Exhale, threading it through. Last time. Inhale this left hand high. Exhale, threading that left hand through. Again, bringing the shoulder all the way down to the mat. So we're going to settle here for a moment. So start with your right hand in front of your face, with your elbow up to the ceiling. That way it can give you leverage. Every exhale, press that hand into the mat, helping you twist a little more. This is one of my favorite little shoulder stretch series we're about to do. Can be helpful for everyone, but especially athletes who oftentimes have so much repetitive motion with the shoulders. So shift your hips over to the left. They have a tendency to automatically pull over to the right. To go even further, inhale this right hand up to the ceiling. Exhale, bend your right elbow, let it hang behind your back. Maybe some of us have enough flexibility to reach all the way around with our right hand and grab the inside of our left thigh. If you can do that, use it as leverage to rotate this right shoulder up to the ceiling even further. Keep those hips over to the left. breathing into this here. Maybe you want to move into a lion's breath. I feel like that helps me personally relieve a little bit more physical tension. So deep inhale through the nose. Exhaling out of the mouth like you're trying to fog up a mirror. Deep inhale. Full complete exhale. On our next inhale, let's extend this right hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale as we plant this right hand in front of our face. Inhaling this left hand high. Exhale, slowly releasing this left hand down to meet the right. Let's shift forward into a modified push-up position on our hands and knees. So keeping your core tight. Shift the weight into the hands so the shoulders come slightly over the wrist. And exhale, you're slowly going to lower as slow as you can, keeping those elbows glued into your side. So they're literally touching your ribcage the whole time. Once you reach the mat, let's extend this left arm straight out from the shoulder blade. Deep inhale here. On an exhale, we're going to roll onto our left side. Step this right foot back behind the left leg. So we're stretching out the front of that same shoulder we just stretched the back of. To go even further, let's inhale this right hand up to the ceiling. Exhale, maybe just dropping this right hand behind your back. Allowing it to help you twist a little bit more. Inhaling this right hand high. Exhale, rolling back onto our stomachs. We're going to keep this left arm extended out to the left. It's going to bend your elbow so your left arm's at a 90-degree angle, and you want to move your whole arm up an inch or so your elbow is just slightly higher than your shoulder. Take a deep inhale here. You're going to need it. On an exhale, roll back onto that same side. Whew. As you feel a much more significantly deeper stretch. Maybe feeling this all the way into the chest muscles, the connective tissue, ligaments, joints. This one you can kind of just let gravity do its thing. Not forcing anything here, it's a deep enough stretch. One more deep inhale. Exhale, as we roll back onto our stomachs. Bringing those hands underneath our shoulders, and just as slow as we lower down, let's see if we can equally as slowly inhale as we press ourselves back up to a tabletop position. Whew. I don't know about you guys, but I needed that. On an inhale, let's move back into those cat-cows. Exhale, rounding, taking some free movement, maybe for the next 5 breaths or so. On your next inhale, let's come back to a neutral tabletop position. Bringing those knees again as wide as the mat. This time, we're going to keep our left hand planted. Inhale that right hand high. Nice twist at the top, so you already want to feel in the front of the shoulder blade. Exhale, thread this right hand through the left armpit. Bring the shoulder all the way down to the mat. 2 more times like that. Inhaling high. Exhale, threading it through. One more time. Exhale, threading it through. This time we're going to settle into this pose for a moment. So again, keeping this left hand in front of your face, elbow up to the ceiling, giving you leverage to press into the mat, twisting just a little more. Once you're to that edge, shift your weight over to the right another inch. Whew, you should feel that all along the back of the shoulder, behind the scapula, rotator cuff. If you took that additional modification on your next inhale, let's bring this left hand up towards the ceiling. Exhale, maybe just bending the elbow, letting that left hand hang behind your back. Maybe you have the availability to grab onto the inside of the right thigh with your left hand. If you can do that, we're gonna pull into the thigh, rotating the left shoulder up to the ceiling even more. Don't forget to keep those hips over to the right. Holding it here for a few more moments. If you took those lion's breath on the other side, let's move into that now. Deep inhale, filling the lungs to maximum capacity. Audible exhale out the mouth. One more time. On your next inhale, if you took that variation, left hand comes up to the ceiling. Exhale, we're all gonna meet with our left hand in front of our face. Inhaling that right hand high. Exhale, planting the right hand down to meet the left. So you can either move back into that modified plank or push-up position. If you want to go a little bit further, let's come into a full plank position. Shift the weight again into the hands. You want the shoulders to go slightly over the wrist. Exhale, slowly, as slow as you humanly possibly can. Lower all the way down to the mat, elbows glued into the side, touching the ribcage the whole time. Once we're down here, let's go ahead and take your back bend of choice like we did earlier, either staying low, lifting the shoulders only off the mat. Maybe you want to come halfway up. Maybe you want to scoop the chest forward, straightening the arms all the way, lifting up and out of the shoulder blades. Maybe looking up towards the ceiling. Exhale, slowly lowering. Elbows glued into the side. This is going to help us build strength, balance, control. Once you reach the mat, let's extend that right arm straight out to the right. You want it to come right out from the shoulder blade. Deep inhale here. Exhale, rolling onto that right side as we step our left foot back behind our right leg. You can either keep this left hand planted in front of your face. Maybe inhaling this left hand up to the ceiling. On an exhale, you can let that left hand just fall behind your back if you want to increase the stretch a little more. That's just going to help you rotate that left shoulder up towards the ceiling even further. Feeling a deep stretch in that right front of the shoulder that we just stretched the back of. Whew. I didn't realize how tight I was personally. Maybe you're feeling the same thing. If that's the case, you came to the right place. I got you. Deep inhale here. Exhale, inhaling that left hand high, slowly rolling back onto our stomachs. Right arm remains out to the right. We're just gonna bend that right elbow at a 90-degree angle. Move your whole arm up an inch so your shoulder is just slightly lower than your elbow. Deep inhale here. Exhale, rolling back onto that same side, feeling a hell of a deeper stretch here. Again, feeling it probably all the way into the chest muscles, ligaments, connective tissue. We're just gonna kind of hang out here and let gravity do its thing. We almost never stretch out this area of the body, so if it's feeling tight AF, that's normal. And even tension in the chest can come from bad posture. We just don't notice it because, like I said, I don't know about you guys, but I don't normally hang out like this in my free time for fun. One more deep inhale wherever you're at. Exhale, slowly rolling back onto our stomachs. Hands underneath the shoulders. One more time, take a back bend of choice. If you want to go a little further this time, maybe you can bend your knees, try to grab onto your feet, your ankles, your shins, wherever you can reach. Deep inhale here. Exhale. Begin to press your feet away from your body. So it's lifting your shoulders off the mat. Exhale, slowly releasing. Hands underneath the shoulders one more time. Let's inhale onto our hands and knees. On an exhale, we're going to tuck our toes. Pick up the knees, straighten the legs, moving into our first downward facing dog. We're just taking it easy here. Start by bending one knee, straightening the other. Walking out your downward dog. Making sure you're spreading your fingers as wide as possible. Press every square inch of the palm into the mat. Try to avoid dumping all the weight into your arms. You can counteract that by pressing your chest back towards your thighs. Maybe shaking the head out, yes and no. On an inhale, let's straighten your left leg. Exhale as you bend your right knee. Deep inhale at center. Exhale, point your right knee over to the left, looking out underneath your left armpit. Inhale, straightening the right leg, bending the left knee. Pointing that left knee over to the right, looking out underneath the right armpit. Inhale back to center. Let's bend both knees slightly. Press your chest back to your thighs even further. Then try to straighten your legs. Deep inhale here. Look in between our hands. Engage the core. Pick up this left foot. Slowly with control, step it all the way to the outside of the left hand. Let's keep this right leg lifted. And you want to try to straighten the knee. So imagine pressing the back of the knee up towards the ceiling. On an exhale, we're going to press that right heel down towards the mat. So we're getting a very deep stretch here, runner's lunge. If you want to go even further, let's start to pulse that right heel down towards the mat for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now hold it at that maximum range of motion for another 5, 4, 3, 2. On our last one, let's drop the right knee, untuck the toes, coming into a low lunge here. So it's important, you want your right knee to be as far back as possible. If you're in this little box, you're not really getting much of a stretch. If your hips are feeling really tight, walk your left foot out to the left a few inches. You can even bring your left foot all the way off your mat. Take a deep inhale wherever you're at. On an exhale, we're going to start to bend the elbows. Maybe a little, maybe a lot. Maybe some of us can come all the way onto our forearms, getting into a very, very deep stretch for those hip flexors and psoas. Lizard pose. So don't torture yourself here. That's the one thing about yoga. It teaches you a tremendous amount of patience. Unlike a lot of other physical forms of training where you may be able to push yourself a little further, lifting weights or running, you can't push yourself further than where you're ready to go doing yoga without seriously fucking yourself up. And that's not what we came here to do. If you want to work on some more mobility for the hips, on an inhale, start to roll onto the outside edge of that left foot, letting the left knee open up to the left. Exhale, clamping the foot back down on the mat. 2 more times, inhaling away. Exhaling, releasing. 1 more. Exhale as we plant that left foot back down. Slowly walk the hands back towards the body. If you took your left foot wide, bring it back so your ankle is directly underneath your knee. Take a moment to get some balance here. On an inhale, let's bring those hands up and overhead. Exhale, sinking into that left knee even more. The weight of the arms are going to help. Just drop those hips, let gravity do its thing here. So you should feel this stretch. Switch over to the right side of the hip this time. I'm going to give you a couple options here. Again, listening to your body. If you want to go further, maybe you can just let this left hand drop down by our side. Maybe we can touch the mat with this left hand. Maybe we can reach this right hand all the way over to the left side. Inhaling, hands up overhead. Let's try looking up at the ceiling, bringing these arms out to the side like a cactus, challenging our balance a bit more. Inhaling, palms up and overhead. Exhale, arms out to a T. We're going to rotate over towards the left. Keep your right hand planted. Bend your right knee. We're going to reach back with that left hand, and we're just going to see if we can grab that foot. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. Only one way to find out, right? Deep inhale here wherever you're at. Feeling a very deep stretch in that quad. Another tight area, especially for athletes, and we just don't often normally stretch this part of the body out. It can be hard to stretch with a lot of traditional ways. And then exhale, let's release the foot and the hand back down to the mat. Inhale, straightening that left leg. So first starting off by pressing the left toes into the mat a lot. You want to feel this in the front of the ankle and the shin, again an area of the body we almost never stretch out. Try to keep your legs straight, even if that means you need to come a little bit higher. You can always use some yoga blocks if you have some, or even just books if you need some extra support. If you can easily touch the ground, as you exhale, let's walk those hands away from the body. Get the chest a little bit closer towards the mat. Inhaling halfway up. Exhale, slide your left foot forward an inch or so and flex your toes back to your body a lot. So now you do want to feel it all on the back of the leg. We're going to take that even further by dropping the weight from our right hip back down towards our right heel another inch or so. You should feel that fire up on the left leg even more, all the way to the back of the knee. On an exhale, maybe we can walk those hands away from the body, getting the chest just a little bit closer towards our thighs. Let's inhale halfway up. If you want to go even further, get into that IT band, that large band of muscle that runs from the hip all the way to the ankle. Let's bring this right hand to the outside of the left leg. This is an amazing one for runners, cyclists, hiking enthusiasts. I've been getting it with my at-home workouts, and let me tell you, I'm feeling this one with you guys today. Alright, let's inhale back to center, bending back into that left knee. Heel toe, walk that left foot all the way over to the right side. As we get into all those nooks and crannies this morning, I warned you guys. So making sure we're keeping the weight evenly distributed in both hips. You don't want to dump it all the way over to the left side. That could really cause some low back pain over time. If you're finding it hard to remain balanced, again, bring a pillow, a yoga block, a couple books underneath your left hip. Once you feel that weight evenly distributed, I like to walk my hands back to my body at first. So you're sitting up tall so you can see any unbalancedness. Whenever you're ready, you start to walk the hands back away from the body this time. Getting the chest as low as we comfortably can to the mat. Maybe we can bring our forehead all the way down to the ground, coming into a sleeping pigeon. Once you're down here, you can still continue to make any modifications. You're going to walk your left foot away from your body to increase the stretch, or bring it back closer to your body to decrease the stretch. Up to you. Stand here for just a few more breath cycles. So breathing into it. Inhale, walking the hands back towards the body. One more time, we're keeping this right hand planted, bending our right knee, reaching back with our left hand and grabbing our foot. Normally, people have more range of motion in this variation, so we're going to kick it up even another notch. On an inhale, you're pulling that right foot in closer towards your body. As you exhale, you're shifting the weight into your right hand. You should feel this from your hip all the way to your knee on the right side. Let's do that 2 more times for good luck. Inhaling that right foot into the body. Whew, exhaling the weight into the right hand. 1 more time. But slowly release the foot and the hand back to the mat. Tuck these right toes underneath you. Pick up your right knee. We're going to engage the core, shoot this left foot back to meet the right. Pause it in a plank position here. Deep inhale. Engage that core. Exhale, press the chest back towards the thighs, downward facing dog. You can always take child's pose if you need to. For a little added challenge, let's make this our resting pose for today. So start to bend one knee, straighten the other. Alternating side. Connecting to your breath is the most important aspect of yoga, way more important than pushing yourself through these physical poses. And that's a really monumental lesson we can take off the mat. Alright, inhale, straightening both legs. Exhale as you look in between the hands, engaging the core, stepping right foot to the outside of the right hand. Keeping this left leg lifted, encouraging that left leg straight by pressing the back of the knee up towards the ceiling. Deep inhale here. On an exhale, let's fire up that left leg by pressing the left heel down towards the mat, pulsing it for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding it now at your maximum range of motion, your edge, for another 5, 4, 3, 2, on your last 1. Dropping that left knee, untucking your toes, low lunge on the other side here. So again, if you needed to walk your right foot out to the right because your hips are feeling tight, go ahead and do that now. For more of a challenge, keep your ankle directly underneath your knee in a 90-degree angle. Walk those hands back towards the body for a moment so you're starting with a straight spine. Exhale, beginning to bend the elbows as much or as little as you'd like. Noticing if one side feels a hell of a lot tighter than the other. It's completely normal. As a matter of fact, that's why you're here. Yoga eventually will help us bring balance, whether it's strength, flexibility, control, not only to our bodies, but our life experience. If you took that mobility work on the other side, let's move into that now. Inhaling onto the edge of the right foot, right knee opens up to the side. Exhale, planting that foot down on the mat. 2 more times. Inhaling away. Exhaling, releasing. Inhaling away. Exhaling, releasing. Starting to walk the hands back towards the body as you inhale. If you took your foot wide, bring it back directly underneath your knee. This time we're going to see if we can straight away inhale, hands up and overhead. So you can always adjust your balance here. If you're feeling unbalanced, bring your stance a little bit further apart. Feeling it switch over to this left side of the hip this time. On an exhale, just let go. Don't force anything here, just release. See if you can allow your hips to sink a little heavier into the mat. Another life lesson we can take off this practice. Letting go, letting flow. What happens when we don't force things? If you want to move into a little back bend, let's bring those arms out to the side like a cactus. Gaze goes up to the ceiling. Inhaling, hands overhead. If you want to go even further into that stretch on the left hip, just let this right hand hang out to the side. Maybe dropping this right hand all the way down to the mat. Maybe reaching this left hand all the way over to the right side. Inhaling back up to center. Hands overhead. Exhaling, arms out to a T as we rotate over towards the right. Dropping this left hand. Bending the left knee. Reaching back with our right hand. Maybe we can grab the foot. Maybe we can't. Either way is perfectly fine, because guess what? Life ain't perfect, and all you can do is your best. If you're doing your best, people can't expect more out of you than that, and neither should you. So deep inhale here, again feeling it from your hip all the way to your knee. Exhale, releasing the hand and the foot back down to the mat. Right hand comes to outside of that right foot. Exhale, straightening the leg. Pressing the toes into the mat a lot. You're trying to squash a little bug underneath you. You want to feel this in the front of your ankle and your shin. Maybe somewhere you've never even stretched before. So this is impactful with helping prevent injuries. Deep inhale here. On an exhale, to go even further, maybe you're going to walk your hands away from your body, getting your chest slightly closer towards your thigh. Inhaling halfway up here. We're going to flex our toes back towards our body a lot this time. Maybe you need to slide your foot forward an inch or so. And then we're going to take even further by dropping the weight from our left hip down towards our left heel. Just an inch or so, you should feel a much deeper dynamic stretch on that right side, all the way to the back of the knee. If you want to go even further, maybe taking this left hand to the outside of that right leg. Okay, inhaling back to center, bending into that right knee. Exhale as we heel toe walk this right foot over to the left, coming into our pigeon pose on the other side. So again, take a moment to feel balanced here. You don't want to dump your weight all the way to the right side. Once you feel that weight evenly distributed, exhale, start to walk those hands away from the body, lowering as much or as little as feels right for you today. Still noticing how different one side of the body feels from the other, and breathing into that. To make further modifications, walk your right foot away from your body to increase the stretch, or closer to your body to decrease the stretch. Getting into the outside of the hip. On an inhale, start to walk your hands back towards your body. One more time, keeping this left hand planted, bending that left knee. Reach back with the right hand and grab our foot. We're going to inhale, pulling this foot closer towards the body. Exhale, shifting the weight into the left hand. Breathe into it here. 2 more times. Stay in that maximum range of motion. Inhaling, foot into the body. Exhaling, weight into the hands. Last time here. Ooh, exhale, releasing the foot and the hand back down to the mat. We're going to come onto our knees. So you want to be at this 90-degree angle with the knees directly underneath the hips. On an exhale, start to slide your knees as far away from your body as you can get it. You're pointing your toes away from the body as well. So keeping your knees at a 90-degree angle, we're going to move into a frog pose. Very, very, very deep stretch for those hip flexors. So take a deep inhale if you're with me. We're all going to need it. Exhale, dropping the weight back towards the heels from our hips. Seeing how low we can bring them down towards the mat. Breathing into it here. One more deep inhale. And then exhale, let's start to bring those knees closer back together. Shifting onto our sit bones. Let's extend those legs straight out in front of us. Setting up tall. Inhaling, hands in front of us. On exhale, you're slowly going to roll down one little vertebrae of spine at a time. until your shoulders are the last thing to touch. So engaging your core. Once you reach the mat, let's hug those knees into our chest, keeping the lower back firmly planted. And then exhale, start to rock it out side to side. Maybe some small circles for the low back. This is another amazing one for low back pain, sciatic pain. So if you do suffer from any of those things, this could be a really powerful one to incorporate into your day-to-day routine. If you're feeling any areas that have specific tension, just stop, pause, and breathe into that space. Allow the ground to act like a pressure point to release any remaining tension. On an inhale, let's come back to center as we release the arms out to a T. Exhale, allow both of the knees to drop over to the left side. Couple options here. You can stay just like this. To go even further, press down on your right knee with your left hand. To go even further, we can extend this left leg to the front of your mat to give you more leverage to press down on your right knee even more. But slowly inhale both the knees back to center. Exhale, rocking it out. Side to side, still releasing that low back. A problematic area for honestly pretty much everybody, but especially athletes, again, because these small dormant muscles are ones that are missed throughout the gym, and that's why they become weak, prone to injury, and there's nothing worse than putting in those blood, sweat, and tears, copious hours of beast moding to end up hurting yourself on some dumb shit and be out for months. Speaking from experience. Alright, let's come back to center. Inhaling those arms out to a T. Exhale, dropping the knees over towards the right. You can either press down on both the knees with that right hand. Maybe even extending that right foot towards the front of your mat. I do this pose literally every single morning. That's how I start my day. Get a nice little back crack while you're at it. Inhaling both the knees back to center. And then exhale, grabbing onto the inside of our feet, moving into a happy baby pose. So stacking the ankles so they're directly above the knees. And then you're trying to press the knees down towards the mat. So opening up the hips here. Maybe some of you want to continue to rock side to side to release the low back. I like to keep one knee bent. Try to straighten the other leg as much as possible. Alternating sides. Feeling a stretch all along the inside of the legs, hips. The whole party's involved. Then let's play around with it by grabbing the outside of the feet this time. But same thing, keeping your knees bent, maybe straightening one leg, bending the other, alternating sides. Feeling it a bit more on the outside of the legs this time. Finally, let's come into a reclined butterfly pose, similar to how we started. So interlacing the fingers behind the feet, bringing the bottoms of the feet together. I feel like this is a little bit more impactful because for people that already have tight hips, it's hard to sit up straight in this position when you're seated. So this gives you a little bit more range of motion. Just as we would do when we're seated, on an inhale, you're pulling the feet in towards your body. On an exhale, you're pressing your knees away from your body. Alright, we're going to do that 2 more times, staying at your maximum range of motion. We're almost done here, so let's give it our all. Stay connected to our breath. On an inhale, pulling those knees in towards the body. Exhale, pressing the knees away. One last time, feet come into the body. exhale those knees away just a bit further. Final inhale wherever you're at. And then on the exhale, we are going to release into our final pose, Shavasana, where you just simply get to lie here for a moment. Most people's favorite. So from this reclined position, take a few moments to get settled in, get comfortable. Traditionally, you leave your palms down for grounding or up for receiving. And then we're going to take one last final scan of the body here. So let's see if we can tune into any subtle differences we may be feeling. Whether that's tension released not only physically, but emotionally or psychologically through that deep diaphragmatic breathing we've been doing for the last hour or so. Start by bringing that awareness to our thought process. Maybe we can visualize one thing we've had that's been a cause of stress, anxiety, worry on our to-do list. Visualize that dissipating from your mind frame, no longer a part of your conscious thought. With that space, let's choose one positive intention and set that for ourselves now. Make it something feasible that you could realistically accomplish. That's some life-altering declaration. Think about how that feels in the body. Taking that further by moving the awareness down to our face so that the muscles become soft around the eyes, jaw. Moving that awareness down to our neck and shoulders. Feel any remaining tension just melt away. Allow your breathing to return back to normal. Let your belly get soft. Feel the release in your hips, thighs, knees, shin, ankles. Until you feel that present moment awareness, the power of you, I like to call it. Feel that enveloping your entire body from head to toe. Tuning into not only that power you have within, but how impactful it can be and how easily it is to access anytime, anywhere. Sometimes you just need to take that hour or so out of your day to be present and breathe. We're going to sit with that connection just for the next few moments or so, until you move back into the remainder of your day, the remainder of your week, hopefully feeling refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready for whatever may be in store. Responding as a higher version of yourself. Staying here for a few more moments. Then whenever you're ready, let's gently bring some awareness back into the body, first by wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, maybe rolling out the ankles and the wrist. I always like to reach overhead, give myself this nice morning stretch. Let's hug those knees into our chest one more time. When we do this, we're giving ourselves a legitimate hug, like we would give someone that we love or care about, showing ourselves that love that may be so easily given to others, but not always as easily towards ourselves. This is a great practice to tune into that. Keeping your eyes closed so we sit with this last bit of internal awareness before you move back into your day. As you exhale, roll onto whatever side you prefer. Pausing here in a fetal position for just a moment, representing new life, rebirth, new energy. On the exhale, let's press ourselves back into a comfortable seated position like we started. See if we can still keep those eyes closed. coming back to a neutral, comfortable seated pose. Bring the arms out to a T, or down to the side rather. We're going to take one more final inhale. And when we do this, I want you to visualize receiving whatever it is that you need to accomplish that attention for yourself. So inhale, arms up and overhead. Palms meet at the center. On an exhale, let's release those palms down to heart center as we give some gratitude back into the world. Like we've already received those things that we're praying for. Final inhale. And exhale, you can gently begin to open your eyes. Because that, my friends, concludes our yoga class for today. I don't know about you, but I needed that. I feel better. Thank you as always for joining me. I hope you have a blessed and blissed rest of this beautiful day. And I will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Namaste. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.